Hello, YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me, you beautiful people. This is Lenidra Johnson, and I am so excited to introduce you to this brand new show here on the Straight Talk Society. The title of our show is Pour Your Heart Out, Black Women's Honest Conversations. I'm super excited to be launching this new show. And in this episode, we are going to be sipping wine and diving deep into some honest conversations about the experiences that shape us as Black women. Our topic tonight is toxicity check, how to identify and heal from toxic relationships. Tonight, we're going to be joined by a fantastic group of panelists who are going to share their insights and perspectives on this very important topic. Toxic relationships can take many forms, from romantic partnerships to friendships and even some family members. But one thing that they all have in common is the potential to cause harm and drain our energy. And that's why it's so important that as Black women, we talk about how to recognize the signs of toxicity and how to find some ways to heal and move forward. So tonight, I want you to grab a glass of your favorite wine or whatever you choose to pour in your cup. Get comfortable and let's get ready to pour our hearts out. So without further ado, I am going to introduce my amazing panelists. All right, so I am going to start bringing them on the stage. All righty, our amazing panelists here. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining me tonight. Look at these beautiful Black women representing tonight. Good evening, ladies.
Good evening.
All righty. Thank you all so much for joining me. Before we get started and get into this juicy conversation and this juicy topic, I would love for each of you ladies to just introduce us. Let us know who you are and what you do. All righty. So we'll go ahead and start with Dr. Mia. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Wine up. I got my wine ready.
Hey, hello.
My name is Dr. Mia, but my real name is Manushka St. Hill, but I go by Dr. Mia, affectionately known. I am a marriage and family therapist, and I have my own company called A New Way LLC, where I provide counseling services to everyone from 0 to 99. And my hope for the world is that we just heal forward as a community.
Thank you so much. I am super excited to have you here and to get your insight as a professional. All righty, Nicole, can you go ahead and let us know who you are?
Hello, everybody. I am Nicole Williams, known as Nicole Williams, and I'm a educator with the School Board of Broward County. That's my story, and that's what I'm sticking with.
I love it. All right, my sissy, go ahead and share who you are, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Shaka, and I am Lenidra Sissy. That's about it. No, I work in IT locally, and yeah, I'm just excited to be here. Let's dive in. And hello, panel. Cheers to y'all.
So happy to have you here. All right, cheers. All righty, next we have Trina. Let's hear more about you, ma'am.
Hello, I'm Trina Howard. I am the author of Adjust My Crown, and I also own Adjust My Crown Incorporated, and I am the co-owner of Extreme Locker Room, kids sporting goods store, and ready for the show.
Awesome. As you all can hear, we have a bunch of Black professional women here, and I am loving it. All right, next, let's hear from Miss Shira. Let us know a little bit more about you.
Good evening, ladies. Can you all see me?
Yes, we do.
All right, good evening. My name is Shira. I am a mother of 4, married. I am also an educator with the School Board of Broward County, and I'm happy to be here tonight.
Awesome. And we are super happy to have
Here's
you here
my
with us
wine.
tonight. All right. I'm loving it. All right, Q. What's up? What's up?
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm going by the name of Q, but my real name is Shaquesta. I wear many hats, but right now my hat is in social services. I'm also the co-host of a podcast called Cheer Chatter, where we talk about all things cheer, and as well as I am a co-founder of a nonprofit. So I am here just to have good dialogue, good chat, and definitely be able to pour in, and as well as get some things poured out to me as well.
Awesome. Thank you. You always bring good value to the Straight Talk Society. All righty. And Breezy, I know you're not feeling well tonight, but would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
I would. Y'all got me feeling like a nothing over here. I am Breezy. I work in the engineering department of Comcast. It is not fabulous at all. No, I cannot help you with your cable bill. I apologize. That is high. That's about all I can do. I'm also a mother of four, and I have had my share of toxic relationships. So forgive my voice. If I have to mute out to cough or sneeze, I'll do so. But I look forward to contributing as well.
All righty. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And again, I am Lenidra, also known as Nini. I am an educator, 19 years, and I am also the owner of Teaching Queen Collective. So as you see, we have a bunch of beautiful, educated and professional Black women tonight. And we want to talk about this very important topic inside of our society, Black women and dealing with toxic relationships. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So let's go ahead and get started, ladies. The first thing I want us to do is I want us to talk about how we can define toxic relationships, because before we start talking about identifying toxic relationships and even healing from toxic relationships, we want to make sure that we have a clear understanding of what a toxic relationship is, or just what it means to us. So does anybody want to share out? We don't have to go in any particular order. We'll just take turns. Everybody gets an opportunity to share. But how do you define a toxic relationship?
I feel like it becomes toxic, or you realize it's toxic just from my own personal experiences. It's when you are tit for tat for everything. Just, oh, you think you can do that? Okay, I'm gonna up you. And then you're constantly upping each other for what? For why? What is the reason?
Okay.
And it never turns into a positive, outcome. It's always you're trying to outdo your person, or you're trying to outdo whomever at work, or whatever that particular relationship is to you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I can understand that. And I've seen that in some relationships. So I would definitely agree with that. That would be a definite sign of a toxic relationship. Anybody else want to share? How would you define a toxic relationship?
I like to chime in. For me, toxicity would be anything that makes me question how I feel about myself and how I'm approaching a situation. Like if it makes me feel like I'm always wrong, be it an intimate relationship or friendship, like you said, family relationships as well can also be toxic. So if I'm always feeling like there's going to be a problem in the situation, if I try to address something, if I try to do something outside of what they may want me to do, wear something outside of what they may think I should wear, I may be in a toxic situation.
Okay. I like that. All righty. So you ladies are giving some really good definitions, and also giving some examples of what you could possibly look for inside of toxic relationships. So I'm loving that. Anybody else want to share? How would you define, or what would a toxic relationship look like for you?
I think
for me.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Who was that? Q?
Q, is that you?
No, I think it was two of us that responded at the same time.
Go ahead, Mia.
Oh, okay. So for me, sometimes I'm gonna pull out my professional dictionary, and always thinking about how toxicity, if I want to do my layman's term at the end of the day, is do no harm, right? Like the intent is that you are in a relationship with someone who is constantly doing harm, like at every intersection. It doesn't matter what happens, whether it's communication, whether it's jealousy, whether it's financially, there are so many layers to toxicity. I think we're often think about the emotional part of it, but financial toxicity, communication toxicity, somebody that's jealous of you is toxicity. So there are so many layers, but for me, at the end of the day, it's do no harm. If your whole intent in every intersection, all we're doing is we're harming each other, we may both be toxic and might not just be a good match for each other.
All righty. I like how you mentioned that you may both be toxic, because that is something that we also want to consider when we're looking at a toxic relationship. Who could be the toxic person in the relationship? And also, could it be both people inside of the relationship that is being toxic or causing the toxic inside of the relationship? All right. Thank you for sharing that. Trina, go ahead and chime in.
Yes. For me, a toxic relationship would be a relationship that when you argue, you go to hit below the belt, name calling, saying nasty comments towards each other, arguing, fighting. Sometimes toxic relationships are physical, mentally draining, cheating, and keep going back, and all of that is toxic. When somebody is disrespectful towards you, and you just keep going back and you keep going back, you disrespectful towards them and they keep coming back. Y'all just you're in a very toxic relationship.
I love how, Trina, that you mentioned that it's not just the verbal, but you also put in that it could be physical, it's emotional, it's mental. So that's something that we do want to make sure that we're aware of, that when we're talking about these toxic relationships, that it can be different forms, because a lot of time women or men, because men can be victims of toxic relationships, a lot of time they just think, well, he's not hitting me, or something like that. But it's not just that physical. It can be the verbal, it can be the emotional, it can be the mental. So I love that you incorporated all of that. All right. Anybody else want to share how you would define a toxic relationship?
So
or
I will.
What would you give as an example? Go ahead.
I just think it's when it comes to toxic relationship, we shouldn't just focus on just that intimate, relationship where, it should be a more of a generalized definition. When you're feeling unsupported, you can feel unsupported by your friends, by your partner, by your family members. When you're feeling demeaned, disrespected, misunderstood, manipulated. Manipulation is a huge thing when it comes to, toxicity. The manipulator is the one that's constantly, trying to, change the narrative to make you feel or believe a certain way or a certain thing. Whereas, you know the truth and you see the truth, but because the person is such a master manipulator, they can actually change your view on a lot of things. So that way you're able to either feel like you've done something wrong, or you feel like, you kind of, just got tricked into thinking something else. So it's almost like wizardry. That person, or the person that's involved that's being toxic, they have a power over the situation, over the narrative, over that person, that they can get whatever they want out of the situation. So it's definitely more of a generalized term, because it should be able to describe all types of relationships.
I like that. And we're actually going to be touching on that. We may move that up a little bit sooner, but we are going to be touching on that toxic relationships do not just come in the form of those romantic relationships. As I was coming up with this topic and choosing toxic relationships, it made me think about some different types of relationships that I've either been in or that I've seen firsthand. And I wanted to ask you ladies, do you feel that there is a difference between a toxic relationship and an unhealthy relationship, or do you feel that they are pretty much the same? A toxic relationship versus unhealthy.
They're pretty much the same to me.
I think they have a lot of. I think they have a lot of things in common, but I think one can be worse than the other.
I agree.
What do you think could be that line that you can cross? Because I do agree that they have a lot of similarities, but then there's that level that takes it from being an unhealthy relationship to a toxic relationship. What do you think is that line that crosses from
I
being
think
okay,
that
this is
line
toxic?
is disrespect. Once it becomes a disrespectful relationship, whether it's physical, mental, verbal, emotionally, once it becomes disrespectful, now you've crossed into that toxicity. Now you're just toxic.
Okay.
I have a question though. What
Go ahead.
what what is toxic that could be good for us? Everything toxic is unhealthy, right? So wouldn't that kind of make it one in the same? And I definitely understand what you mean. Like you could be in a toxic situation where it may not be physically abusive or it may not be um, affecting your mental health to a place that you recognize it externally. But if there's anything toxic about anything that you're consuming, that's unhealthy.
I agree with Bridget.
And
Breezy, I'm
I
sorry.
agree with that. I think that's why a
I agree.
toxic relationship is worse than an unhealthy one. And I think they have a lot of things in common. But like I said, I think a toxic relationship is worse because an unhealthy relationship for me would be someone that's just not supportive. I might have career goals, educational goals, and you just not you don't seem to be supportive of my
Hmm.
dreams and my efforts and things that I have going on. I don't necessarily consider that to be that you're toxic in a
Just
relationship with me,
unhealthy.
but
I
it's just
understand.
unhealthy because you're not supportive.
I mean, it's one
Right.
and the same. It's one and the same because it's almost like a stepping stone. It'll start off with being toxic and to the point where it becomes unhealthy. And it may not hit the physical, but it's definitely hitting the mental and the emotional part of it because you're feeling unsupported. So I think they're one and the same. I think it's probably one is leading up to the other or vice versa. But, with that behavior, it is going to lead to something being unhealthy.
I definitely
That's what I was going
Yeah,
to
I
ask
agree.
next. Do you feel that an unhealthy relationship is definitely going to turn toxic, or do you think that something can be done while it's unhealthy that can prevent it from getting toxic, but still come back into a place where it can be healthy?
I
it
think
can
it's a
be.
gateway. I think just like, they say marijuana is the gateway drug.
Mhm.
It is unhealthy relationship is a gateway to a toxic relationship. And oftentimes the person contributing to the toxicity doesn't realize that they're part of the problem. And because denial is not just a river. People really, really don't want to own their shit. Just put it out there. They don't want to own it. And so when you don't want to own your part, there's no coming back from that. So if it's only one person on the receiving end, and which is often how it is, very rarely you'll have both people that there's just two personalities. You have to deal with it. But yeah, I think it's a gateway.
Accountability is the new mental health. I just feel as though that, whether you are the receiver or you are the initiator, accountability goes both ways because at the end of the day, if you're not strong enough to stand up to that person who is exhibiting and the toxic behavior, you're just as toxic for receiving it, being okay with it. So you have to hold each other accountable when it comes to, the toxic relationship.
I'd
Well,
like to
I'm not gonna
So I
interject.
mean,
demonize the victim.
some of us have never been in a healthy relationship.
Hold on. I'm hearing you out of somebody else's mic.
Maybe I need to mute. Let me mute and see if that helps.
All righty. All right, go ahead, Trina.
Yeah, some people have never been in an actual healthy relationship. So when
Speak
you've
on
never
it.
actually been in a healthy relationship, it's going to be very hard to determine when you're in a toxic relationship because I
Facts.
mean you haven't been in a healthy one, so you don't really know what an unhealthy one looks like. So if I don't even know what an unhealthy relationship looks like, how will I even know once I've crossed over into a relationship that has become so toxic that I need to exit?
I agree. That is a perfect segue over into our next topic where we want to talk about what are some of the impacts of toxic relationships, because like Trina said, if we've never been in a healthy relationship before, it's hard for us to identify that this is toxic because this is what I know, whether it be him or her yelling and being jealous, and a lot of times I hear, usually with the younger ones, oh, he's jealous because he loves me and he doesn't want me to do this, or he doesn't want me to be around these type of people. So what are some of the warning signs that they can look for to know that, you know what, maybe this is leading up to a toxic relationship, or yes, I am definitely in a toxic relationship? And then what are the impacts of being in a toxic relationship?
Leading signs for me is the isolation. It's almost like they're narcissistic. Like they have to isolate you away from your friend group, your family group, your work group, that clique, that even within your family, it could be someone that is just, you see the red flags, but I was always taught, if you see, if someone shows you their true colors, believe them. Like we like to recolor, oh, it's not really purple, it's more of a violet. You know what I mean? So, you want to make excuses. And then next thing you know, you're already down that pathway to get there. And that can affect your mental health, because we need each other. We depend on our girls. We depend on, our crew, our clique, that whoever at work, that certain, that cousin, friend, whatever that you may have. But then if you're in this relationship and they start to isolate you from, what used to make you happy or what you used to find joy in, it starts to affect your mental health. If that starts, going down, now you don't care about anything but trying to please this person that's constantly putting you down and putting you down. So now you're believing whatever it is that they're saying. You don't have anybody in that ear telling you, oh no, you're better than that, you're beautiful, you're this. No, all you believe is whatever, they're giving you from this toxic side that, they're now portraying, but you don't see it because we have our blinders on. You know what I mean? So you can only see what's exactly.
I want to pause for a second. I see a question down. Straight Talk with Trevor. He has asked, he's speaking to us. Have you ever identified yourselves as being toxic inside
yes.
of a toxic
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. So I hear a couple of you have said absolutely. So let's talk about that, because I think that that's really important, because sometimes we do have to take the accountability and we have to either admit, yes, I have been the toxic person in the relationship, or I have seen those signs and ignored them. Because ignoring those signs, or knowing that you are in a toxic relationship right here, I have to admit to that. I've been in a toxic relationship. I've seen those signs and I knew, hey, this is not right. This is not healthy. This is toxic. But instead of leaving, I made the decision to stay in it, because like Shaka said, you have those rose-colored glasses. I didn't even have to have anybody around me telling me that this was wrong. I purposefully didn't tell my best friend and my family certain things that were going on in the relationship, because I knew it was wrong. But I wasn't ready to leave, because I'm like, you know what? I can change him. I can do this, and I can do
girl.
Girl.
Yes.
But,
yes.
I want you to talk about being the toxic one in your relationship yourself. Like, what was that like?
I've been single for about 3 years now because of that.
Okay.
I have to put myself in a space where I need to better me. I have to make goals for myself and make me a better person, because I have a bad temper. You upset me and this mouth has no filter. I'm gonna talk about you real bad. I'm gonna talk about your kids. Everybody
conversations. I'm here for it.
Yes.
So and I can admit that is my toxic trait. You upset me to a certain extent, and by the time that conversation is over, you will not see me the same, because I have dogged your mother out, all your children, your auntie, your grandmama. I don't care. So I have to work on me. I'm a work in progress right now, so I need to be single, because I'm still that way.
That takes a lot of self-reflection, though, to understand that, you know what, this is my problem, and that's something that needs to be worked on. So I commend you for taking that accountability on yourself and knowing what your toxic trait is in your relationships, so that you can work on it, so that when you do get in another relationship, it'll be healthy, not just on their end, but it'll be healthy for you as well. All right.
Exactly.
I said that, girl, you threw your hand up. Let me hear about it. 2 minutes.
The next relationship, I don't want to talk about nobody mama.
Right. I too. My mouth gets real reckless, but you have to take me there. And it just got to the point because I stayed in the relationship. Um, at the time, I was like you. I knew this was not good for me. I knew from before we made it to where we made it to that I needed to debt this, but I couldn't for whatever reason. If it wasn't the money was good, the dick was good, like everything was just for me. But
Get you
the
sometime.
attitude was garbage. The putting me down was garbage. Ultimately, it was not worth all of the low self-esteem that I got, the second guessing myself, the not feeling pretty enough or not, being enough. I was constantly trying to chase and give and chase and chase and chase. Then I had to stop and think about it. Men are natural, like they like to chase. So when I realized that he liked that verbal abuse that I was giving him, it was almost like, ooh, so now here we go. We're trying to up each other. So every time I would throw a temper tantrum, I would get mad. It got to be my way. If it's not my way, I literally have it tatted on me, one way, my way. And I meant that thing. You understand? I meant it. And then I realized this is not healthy for anybody. It's not healthy for my daughter. It's not healthy for him. It's not healthy for his, children. It's just not healthy. So I had to leave. And I just realized I had to take a good look at self before I could start pointing the fingers, because I point one finger at him and there was three pointing back at me. You understand? So I knew that I was an issue, a big issue.
All right.
So my toxic trait was is that I'm petty. Call me Petty Betty, because
That's a good doctor.
ma'am. I said, God, I will reach the gates of heaven, and God's gonna say, you're not coming in, because you will not let your pettiness go. Turn around, because I am just like, I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm gonna be real quiet, and I'm gonna get you back. I'm gonna get you
right. Get your lick. Yes.
I'm gonna get you back. Whatever it is, it's gonna come when you least suspect it. Yep. It's like when my ex that broke up with me because he was cheating and he was coming back. Like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to make you suffer, and you will never taste the fruit of this nectar. You know what I mean? It might not be a big thing, but you go back and forth with your exes and stuff. I'm like,
right.
If the deed was good, I don't care. You will never. So I'm real petty. I am real petty. I'm still working on that. I pray about it every day. But then
maybe that's why I need to start praying about it. I ain't prayed about it
yet. Yes. Ladies, we are healing, not healed. We are healing, not healed.
Right. When you with the wrong person, they can bring that out in you, because I don't have a desire to be petty with the person that I am now. I had
right.
And I'm not saying that that's right, but sometimes you're just with the wrong person.
You with the wrong person.
Bring out the best in you.
Now you just brought up a whole nother situation. You with the wrong person. There's too many of us don't know we with the wrong person. You're holding on to something you got no business holding on to.
That may have to be a whole nother episode. We'll talk about that inside of the chat. But I want to give some of our other ladies an opportunity to share out. Let's see, who else do we have? Shira, Q, Legend, Breezy, Nicole. Any of you want to share about have you been the toxic one in the relationship before? Or even
I'm very toxic. I'm toxic right now. I can actually admit that. But
what is your toxic trait right now?
Please, let's just break up. Let's just be done. Let's just be done. Let's just wrap it up. Let's wrap this up. And that's very toxic when you're in a relationship with a person that wants to be with you and is showing you that no, they're not perfect, but they want to do things in a way to make you guys better and make you guys work. And I'm just like, nah, let's just be done. That's very toxic.
Legend is with Breezy. I will give up so fast. Sometimes I'll block you before I leave your driveway. So I'm a quitter. Like, I don't have time for anything that stresses me out. That go for friends, men, kids. Because I'll take you to grandma's house too if you get on my nerves.
What the kids?
Kids too. Everybody.
I don't have time for it.
Listen, I'm with Lex and Breezy on this one here.
Oh, Lord.
I am.
Is that Q?
Yes.
I will. I'm breaking up with you. You don't even know I broke up with you. I don't moved on.
Gone.
I
Gone.
won't
Wait
answer
a
no text
minute.
message, no phone calls.
Wait, I got a
And when
question.
you
Wait,
and
Q,
when
you
you
say they don't know that you broke up with them?
Right, I
because
got a question.
I moved on. I literally and mentally I've moved on, and I've had, I remember some years ago I was dating this guy and he was like, I haven't heard from you in like 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, you was expecting for me to call you back? Oh, my bad. And he like, so we had a disagreement and you just like stopped talking to me. And I was like, oh, I took that as me and you was done talking. Like we was over with. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Once
I'm
it's
doing
a
me.
point that we can't reconcile, I'm sorry. For right now, I've been independent too long. I don't even understand that need for a man. I keep asking my male friends right now, what is the benefit of being with y'all? Because I take care of myself, I pay my own bills, and clearly I haven't slimmed down, so I'm still eating.
Ah,
Like I don't understand what I need you for. So whenever they make me upset, that's it. Maybe you're not for me. Go be with somebody else. Like I
Yeah.
just give up.
But you know what I
What they
believe
call
Listen,
it
mine
these
is?
days, get
It
somebody
is
else to do it.
But it's a
absolutely. But
toxic trait because I
Get
don't even
somebody
give
else
them
to
a
do it.
chance to fix it. I don't even give them
I
a
know
chance
she
to
said
fix it. So
she's not giving them a chance to fix it. So it
that's
could
my
they
toxic
could
trait.
possibly be the right one, but she's not giving them that
right.
chance.
I
Yeah.
know for me, mine is definitely my need to run is definitely rooted in the fact that I stayed too long previously, which was
mm-hmm.
also toxic. So the fact that I know I did that, I recognize that I forgave myself for that. Now it's time to go. But the problem is the thing that makes it toxic is in previous relationships, yes, I wrapped it up. That was it. When I said I was done, I was done. But in my current situation, I keep telling him I'm done, even though I know that I'm not, which is not
Mhm.
fair to him and it's not fair to me. That's why I call it toxic. So that's definitely something that I know I have to stop.
Listen, Breeze, I get it, baby. I break up with mine probably every 2 hours. I swear. Every 2 hours. I feel you on that one. I literally will walk out the door and be gone for hours and come back in the house and he like, so we ain't gonna talk about it?
So
No.
I guess my question too, from the mental health perspective, are you willing or anybody willing to explore the toxicity and fix it? Because like I said, I'm working on Patty Betty, but and it takes intentional work. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like the therapists have a therapist. Let's not even pretend that we are out here in
I
these
think
streets getting it right all the time.
I think my
So
fix is real simple. I just have to date a man that don't upset me.
that's not
Because
gonna
once you
happen.
what
upset me,
girl? Where
That's not
they at?
gonna happen.
Where you find them at on Amazon? Where you get them
Amazon.
from?
that's what I'm saying.
Amazon
Amazon.
Shaka
importing and
said
coming
Amazon.
home no more.
Amazon. It
Amazon
got to
is
be.
stupid.
It got to be.
They
Cause
don't come like that no more. Those making models,
you
Because once you
sure?
upset me, it's just over. I don't know what to tell you.
What if I
So
read the
listen, just
reviews?
know
The
this
but
reviews.
about
the
will be
question
okay.
is, so I talk. I'm always. I'm sorry. I'm gonna always go to default. Is that we have to. What is it that the person makes you angry? Like it's very hard when you say somebody makes me angry. They make me this. Nobody should make you anything, right? And so that ownership piece is the hardest part because that's what I said to myself. Like when I was talking about it, like no one should make you want to get back at them. And so I had to explore that. Like, why am I so petty? And it come from my childhood. It come from the trauma of, my father never doing what he said he was going to do. Like never. So I
Everybody got
had
that thing
to
that
realize
pushes their
the
button.
connection,
Mm-hmm.
how I dealt with my dad and how I identified in that relationship spilled over because the first person that's supposed to love you unconditionally and tell you what love is your father.
Is your
And if he
father,
was
right?
not there and he didn't do it, you're gonna have a problem with men, point blank, period.
And I
Mhm.
think
Hmm.
that's where mine's really, is deeply rooted at is the fact that, I didn't meet my dad till I was 22. So, and I met him at his father's funeral that resulted in, him getting arrested because my mama jumped on him. So
Oh
it
Lord.
just, yeah, it got real ghetto at the funeral at the gravesite. But it stemmed from that, so for me, it was, I didn't have to, I went, all these years without a father. So I didn't know what to expect from men. So for me, it was like, you know what? Okay, whatever. I can dip in and out whenever I feel like it, because that's what it was for me. You know, dip in, dip out, and not having emotional connections. And then when guys were trying to formulate an emotional connection or some type of, a romantic connection with me, I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. So, I would literally just get ghost. No communicating, no nothing. And that's something that I currently deal with. Even in my current relationship, like I'll get ghost. I will book a hotel room and get missing for 4 to 5 days, quick, fast, and in a hurry, because that is the only way. Because I've realized that I don't have a temper. I would call it almost like you, Dr. Mia. I need get back. So my days away is me formulating a plan on how I'm gonna get back at you, and it's not gonna be nothing nice when I do get back at you. But now I'm starting more to think about it a lot more, because like I say, I break up with my current, my relationship like every 2 hours, every day. I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna work for me. And it can be the simplest things, like you leaving your sock in the middle of the walkway, and I walk in and I'm like, he left a sock on the middle of the walkway. Okay, yeah, it's not gonna work for me.
That's it. It's a wrap.
Now, see, I'm not that petty.
No,
I don't get upset that quickly. Mine is more. It's not so much as upsetting me. It's more as my feelings are hurt. Once I'm hurt, I'm not a softie. So I'm not one to cry. I'm not one to show emotion. So my way of showing emotion is my mouth. I'm going to get loud. It has no filter. I'm going to say the rudest and the meanest things that come to my mind, because you just hurt me. And the things that will hurt me when it comes to men, repeat behavior. My toxic relationship, it was just constant repeat behavior. You cheat, I forgive. You cheat, I forgive. You cheat. What are we doing? And in the midst of you cheating, it's more like a combination of hurt mixed with I'm upset with myself. Because how do I keep putting myself into this situation? Because if I would have let you go the last time, I wouldn't be in this situation. So because I'm hurt and I'm upset with myself, I will lash out. Because now you've hurt me, so I feel like I have to hurt you. And I use my mouth to do that. So once I'm hurt, I'm gonna talk about your mother real bad. I'm gonna talk about your children real bad. I'm gonna talk about everybody, because my goal is to hurt you. Because at that moment I'm feeling hurt. I'm so disappointed.
That's your defense mechanism.
I had to get up out of it, because how many times are we gonna? It's like a cycle. It was just happening over and over.
Right.
What are we doing?
Right.
That's your defense mechanism. Definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, because I would love to be in a relationship, but I don't see any men that ain't cheating. All my friends, they man cheat. My relatives, they man cheat. I don't see nobody not cheating. So I feel like everybody should come over here with me to the single side, because I don't see nobody.
I think I had to realize that, based on what Trevor said, that it's always daddy issues, is be honest with everybody, and realize I didn't know how to love a man. I didn't, and I think that's a hard pill to swallow, that you just don't know how to do it. And especially you didn't see your mother doing it. Like, I never seen my dad kiss my mom, hold her hand, slap her on the butt, gave her a hug. Like, they was just really, Haitian parents, they force them to marry, and they get married, and it's just it's a task on the list. So dealing with the fact that I did not know how to love a man, and really taking time out to know what that means, and making sure that I become lovable, because you have to be able to give and get what you have to be what you expect.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, I saw you did make comment that's down there, that it always stems back to daddy issues. For me, one of my toxic traits had been, I'm not petty, but I'm not petty. I don't want to say but I hold stuff in. Like, I shut down, but it gets to the point where I'm upset about something. He may have done something. He may have said something. And instead of me letting him know, like, look, this is what you did. This is how it made me feel. I feel like, okay, you know what? He did that. He said that. I'm not going to talk to him. I'm going to hold it in. And so now I'm not saying anything verbally, but my actions are speaking for me. I'm treating him differently. I'm snapping at him, and he doesn't know why, because I haven't told him, like, okay, this is what you did. So I'm not giving him that opportunity.
You don't even know nothing bothering you.
I'm sorry, or I didn't mean it this way. I'm like, you know what? My wall goes up. Because now I'm reverting back to, you know what, that last relationship that I was in, and it may not have even been the exact same thing, but it made me think about something that happened in a toxic or an unhealthy relationship. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to shut down and I'm not going to say anything. So now we're sitting here, we're not talking to each other. He doesn't know why, but I know why. You pissed me off. You made me mad. Usually it's you hurt my feelings, but I'm not giving him that opportunity to clarify it and clear it up or anything like that. So that's something that I'm working on, because, and like, we've been married almost 10 years now. This month will be 10 years, and I'm still working on that, because, you know, you hurt my feelings. So I'm just going to shut down. I'm not going to say anything, but I know I need to get to the point where I at least verbalize, like, this is what it is. And also realize that me verbalizing does not mean that it has to turn into an argument, because I don't like arguing. I've never been one that'll argue. So I'll just let me keep quiet because I don't want to argue. But that's not healthy, because the conversation then stops and we're not working it out. And I have to understand that letting my voice be heard or saying, look, this bothered me, does not mean that it has to necessarily turn into an argument. And if it does turn into an argument, that's okay. Have that argument, get it out, so at least you can move on from it. So I think that it's important that all of us recognize that, you know what, we do have some toxic traits, and we are able to say, this is my toxic trait, and you know what, I'm trying to work on making it better so that we can ultimately be better in our relationships. Now, we are talking about relationships, and so far we have been talking about those romantic relationships, but now I want us to talk about those toxic relationships that are not with not a romantic relationship, not necessarily with someone that we are interested in, someone that we are dating, someone that we are married to. Let's talk about the different types of toxic relationships. Q kind of touched on it when she gave us the definition of relationships. Like, we can have toxic relationships with our friends.
Yes.
Have
Yes.
toxic relationships with our family members.
Yes.
So
Yes.
let's talk about that.
Correct. Currently happening. Currently going on. Several in the family.
Well, Shaka, give me what makes it a toxic relationship with a family member?
So just for me, some tragic things have happened to a couple of people in the family. Not that everyone doesn't go through their things or what have you. However, this person, this said family member, just refuses to accept accountability for what they have done in their life. But because the family wants to walk on eggshells, don't upset them because, that happened. Or let's not, we don't really want to talk about it because, it's going to trigger what had happened. But that does not give you a right to be an asshole to everybody because you've had this issue happening. And again, I get it. When you're younger, a child should speak when spoken to. When you're younger, I feel like a child should, be seen and not heard. I get all of that. I'm grown right now. So when you keep coming at me because of said trauma that has happened to you, I'm not going to be a jerk and keep bringing it up, but you're not going to treat me any kind of way and expect me to still be seen and not heard. You're not going to keep giving me the disrespect and expect me to keep taking it, because me turning the other cheek is too much of me accepting the disrespect from you. So yeah, I'm over it. I'm not doing it. So yeah, it's become very toxic because she's always the victim. He's always the victim. It's never, a circumstance of, whatever. It's always because of something that happened 25 years ago. Then you need to go to counseling to get help, because I'm done. I'm over it.
They can go to Dr. Mia.
Right. Dr. Mia, you got any appointments? I would have your schedule full for the rest of the year with my family. I promise you. I promise you.
Anybody else want to share about different types of toxic relationships that may have been a part of your life, or just something that you have been a witness to?
So I can jump in, and I think I mentioned this earlier, how my father was just like, I tell people, he was just a mantle, like he was somebody that was in the house. And so the continuation of the toxicity that would exist is me continuing to reach out to somebody that doesn't love me, nor is capable of showing me love, and just still always looking for him to be the father that he is not capable of being. So I
Mm.
would reach out, let him know when there's Thanksgiving, hey, you coming by? We'll be having dinner this day. We'll be at this location. Oh, hey, we're going to Orlando. My sister's in Orlando. We're going to drive up. You want to come? Oh, hey, just constantly reaching out, trying to build that bridge and realize that thing is in the river. It is burnt. I can't build it back. Like, whatever the objective of him becoming a better father, he has to own that, and I can't do it for him. So I had to let that go. It was hard because I go real hard in believing in people, and I know Trevor's like, oh no, Mia done gave up on somebody. I had to let him go because it's hurtful. It is hurtful to just constantly be reminded that you're not loved.
Mm.
Wow,
I
that can
think
really take a toll on you,
especially your dad.
Yeah.
But I think for me, mine is a blend of family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
I would say our toxic relationships are under the umbrella of honesty. We're not able to be completely honest with one another.
Speak on it. Speak on it.
Yeah, especially with me, because see me, I'm the type of person, I don't mind arguing, but there are certain things I'm not willing to argue about. I'm not about to argue with you about your kids, your man, your household. Certain things ain't worthy of my argument. So therefore, I will just not tell you things that I know, because I'm not about to argue with you about it. So I'm one of them people that can literally see my friend or my relative's man with a whole nother woman at the restaurant. He could be feeding her strawberries, and I'm the one that's not gonna tell you nothing. I don't see the point of being honest, because it will bite you in the butt. Because now you more upset with me than you is with your man. And I'm not about to argue with you about your man or your kids. I don't care if I can see their kids doing something. I just shut up. I'm not honest with them. And it's working. The whole circle is working that way. I'm not being honest. They not being honest. We just all being family members and friends, and the honesty is at 50%. We tell what we want to tell and not everything. So for me, I think that's very toxic, because if we're friends or we family, I should be able to come to you and keep it real. Hey girl, I seen homeboy with such and such. I should be able to come to you and, oh, your child was at the mall smoking marijuana. But because people receive things so negatively these days, everything you say to somebody, they take it somewhere else. You jealous of them. You trying to speak negative.
Yes.
It's always something. When it's not necessary. Sometimes you just trying to help a bitch. I'm just trying to help a bitch.
Yeah.
I gonna learn that my help is keeping my mouth shut. I'm gonna help you by shutting up and making you think that your picture is what it is. And for me, it's toxic, but that's where we at right now with society. That's where we at with our friends. That's where we at with our relatives. We can't be honest, and that's pretty much where that's where everybody at right now.
They like to say, "Oh, let's keep it up. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100." I keep it 1,000, and I'm the problem.
But it's something that they don't want to hear, though.
Then you the problem. Then you the problem. They don't want to you. They get distant with you, because now it seems like, well, last time I talked to her, she was talking negative about my man, and she was talking. You know what? Don't worry about it. I won't say nothing. I'll keep
nothing else.
Positive. When I see you, smile and let's
hey girl, hey.
I'll be outside with you and I don't say nothing to you. I saw your man outside yesterday with somebody else, but I'm outside with you today.
That part.
We have a comment. I like what Angela says. She says you have to know who you can go to. You have to know who you can go to.
True. Very true. Very true.
Receive it. Mm-hmm. All right. Any other ladies on the panel want to share any experiences that you have had or that you may have seen that can contribute to not unhealthy, but toxic relationships outside of just those romantic relationships, whether it be with your friends or family?
Yes. So my best friend of countless number of years, she and I have not spoken in over 2 years, and it does go back to not being able to be honest with each other, but not in a judgmental way. So in our situation, we all suffer with things, but in our situation, she was suffering with something, and her family felt like I was an enabler.
Oh,
And because I always came to her defense when things happened, I felt like I was doing the right thing. It wasn't until I took a step back and realized that is an issue. When you
mm,
are enabling someone to, or defending someone who's doing something wrong, even though I may offer her correction, I'm still protecting her from you judging her.
Mm.
So knowing that, that created an unknown issue. But for the situation to then be turned, and she felt like I wasn't supporting her. So you can feel like you're doing everything for a person or supporting them to the best of your ability, and they could still feel like you're not being supportive enough. But you have to be able to know that if you're doing everything you can and you feel like you're showing up the way you're supposed to as a friend, you
mm,
have to be okay with letting that situation go on either side. And it doesn't mean I'm wrong. It doesn't mean that she's wrong. It doesn't mean that I'm not toxic. It doesn't mean that she's not toxic. But a friendship that stops existing because there cannot be honesty, it has to come to an end. And somebody's toxic, but who decides who that toxic person is?
Right.
true.
Wow. We have a comment from Mr. Sanders. I think this is Mike. He's a part of the Straight Talk Society. He says, if I have to know who I can go to, I'll cut them off. Lonely is better than guarded to me. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
If you have to, if you're considering somebody to be your friend, you should be able to go to them
Correct.
without them having to worry about them cutting your head off or calling you a liar, because if you're calling yourselves friends, you should be able to have those hard conversations and, let them know. In the chat, Nicole is saying, she says that her toxic issue is about how she has to learn to stop trying to not change her goodness due to how other people have treated them. And I like that, not change based on how other people are treating you. You're changing the goodness about yourself to meet those needs that may not necessarily be the best needs for you. So I really like that. Thank you for sharing that. Shira says the truth hurts and some are not willing to hear the truth. And that's when you have to go back to, what is this really a friendship?
Right.
Friends should be able to come to you with that hard truth, even if it hurts. We talked about keeping it a buck and keeping it real. And sometimes keeping it real means that my friend may have to tell me something I don't want to hear, but then I can't go biting her head off because she's telling me the truth. Because if I'm able to call her my friend, I should trust that even if she's telling me something I don't want to hear, that she's coming from a good place. All righty. So thank you, ladies.
You will hope that the person would think like that, but most of them don't.
Right.
Yeah. But then you have to set up boundaries, like healthy boundaries for yourself when it gets to that point.
What are some boundaries that you can set as far as like the friendship? Because we've talked a lot about the romantic relationships and those boundaries, but what are some healthy boundaries we can set with our friends and with our family members?
For me, with that too. But for me, mind your business. But for me, I feel like it comes to like my grandmother would always say, sometimes you gotta love people from a distance. You know what I mean? That's gonna forever be my cousin. That's gonna forever be my brother. But sometimes when you've tried to keep it a buck and you tried to keep it a buck times 5 and they still, don't get it, or that friendship where it's that they're draining of you. You know what I'm talking about? That one friend that just drains the life out of you. Okay, I'm sorry. I got a little emotional. Okay, a little bit more wine. Okay, I'm sorry. But you have to just learn to. I have this one particular friend, and I will call her friend because she has been there for me in some tough times. However, she is that person where I literally have to tell her when oh my God, let me tell you about I don't have the mental capacity right now to deal with whatever it is that you got going on. I can't. Tomorrow, I apologize. Here, let me phone a friend for you that does have that. But me personally, I can't do it. I can't. And it took me a while to understand that it wasn't a bad thing that I told her I couldn't take on what she had going on, because I too have stuff going on, but sometimes people are very selfish and they just want to, take, but they don't understand. I can't deal with this because it's always something with you. Like it's always something. So just set up like a healthy boundary where I love you, but from afar. You know what I mean? You can tell me, just not today. I hear you, but we'll talk about it next week.
Anybody else want to share some ways that we can like set those boundaries when it comes to our family and our friends?
My favorite line in the whole world is you have to teach people how to treat you.
Yes.
I'm working on that.
You have to teach people how to treat you. And I think once you teach people how to treat you, they need to know the disclosures associated when you come over here on this side. You will act accordingly. Because all of my friends know I am the truth serum teller. Like I tell zero lies. Like because I want that back. I want that reciprocal.
Right. Absolutely.
Around, out of pocket or not doing things right, or like I've had like my friend. She'll even tell me, she was like, "So you're not gonna put a lip liner on with that pink lipstick?" I'm like, "Girl, hold on, let me go put it on." Like I'm saying, like we've gotten to a point in our relationships of over the years. Now, did it start off like that? Absolutely not, because growth is a real thing. You have to grow into that. Because I wasn't like that all the time. I was absolutely always offended. I was picked on terribly at Parkway. Let's be clear, okay?
Wait a minute. I don't remember that.
You heard Parkway.
You're not gonna do us like that. Hold on, I don't remember that now.
I was picked at Parkway. I had my doodle braids in. I was Haitian, and so everybody, I had some real trauma associated with how I looked. So I was very defensive as it relates to people giving constructive criticism, because after a while you be like, okay, well, damn. I remember, and I'm gonna say her name. Her name was Acacia. Her name is Acacia. She came up to me one day. "Ooh, I feel sorry for you because you're so ugly."
That's awful.
Yes, awful.
That's when you want to say your mammy, your petulant grandmammy, your drugged out auntie, your raping ass uncle, everybody.
That's what our grandma told us. That's why we ain't got no filter.
Your straight breath ass mammy. That's why your dad. That's why your daddy left your family. All that.
You made it out of Parkway. You a real G.
That's why we ain't got no filter. Well, we got to shut up. That's what I taught myself. I taught myself to shut up. Stay out people's business and shut up.
Yeah, teach people how to treat you. You come over here.
Yeah. For my friends, they seek out my honesty, but they already know if you come to me with something, it's not gonna be necessarily what you want to hear, but it's gonna be the truth and it's gonna be my honesty. So they know. I think all friends should have that relationship. You should have certain friends.
I normally start off answering the question with honesty. But once you give your body language or you say certain things to let me know you getting defensive, it's a twist. I'm gonna shift it real quick. Whatever you say.
I don't shift it.
What I'm not going to do is argue with you about your man. That's your man, baby. What you say he did? Okay, good for you, ho.
No, my friends know. They definitely know. If you don't talk to me about the man, I'm gonna tell you exactly how I feel, and it's the same. It's the same for them. But that's why you have to have your friends that you're comfortable going to about certain things, and it's okay to compartmentalize certain friendships. Some of my friends, I don't get that deep with them. Some of my friends, I can call them about anything at all, but that doesn't mean it's not a friendship. That doesn't mean we're not honest with each other. It's just, I know that I can come to you for the blunt, honest truth, and you're not going to sugarcoat it for me. I might come straight to you. Or if I know my feelings are kind of fragile that day and I can't deal with that, I'm going to go to somebody that might put a little frosting on it for me. But it just depends on what you need.
But I think what I've learned too is tiering my relationships. Like everybody don't have the same access to me. So because it's very important. A lot of times we just open up our doors and everybody has the same level of access to you. And no, I do. I've had to tier my friends. And there are people that are just acquaintances, there are people that are associates, there are people that are roll bounce day one.
Levels. It's levels.
So based
Absolutely.
on who I'm talking to, sometimes like if I am doing that where I'm not completely honest or I act a certain way, is because you're not on that level. Like we just not doing that because you're not there. And I just, from a history of relationship with you, and maybe you'll graduate up, but right now, from your emotional maturity, you're not ready. You're not ready for tier 3.
I think when it comes to toxic friendships, as far as us women, we're pretty much good with how we make decisions on what other women we choose to deal with, how we choose to deal with them. We pretty much kind of got that intact. Of course, there's things we could do better and things that we could change in every aspect of our life. But when it comes to our friendships with other women, we pretty much know who to deal with and how to deal with them. I think our biggest issues when it comes to toxic relationship is when we're dealing with the opposite sex. We simply just don't recognize the signs. And then when we do recognize the signs and they slapping us in the face, we ignore them. So I think that when it comes to toxic relationships, our issue is with the opposite sex. Because when it comes to other women, we don't really have that issue. Because we're more strong when it comes to other women. If we don't want to deal with you, we won't.
I've heard a lot of,
we'll do that all the time with other women. If we don't want to deal with the lady, we not deal with you. If we say we don't like you, we don't like you. We pretty much stand on that.
It to me that
but we don't
women
respect that when it comes to men. When it comes to men, these men can cheat on us and we be right back in their face. These men can have babies on us, we be right back in their face. These men be all in your friend face, you be right back in his face. They do all kinds of disrespectful things and we act like we don't see it. We don't see it.
And then if our friend upsets us, we write them off completely. Like, oh, you played with me. Oh, but you've been playing
narcissist, and you just be smiling. What are you smiling at? The fool is cheating on you. The fool is acting crazy. We just act like we ignore everything when it comes to me.
Well, I mean, I think
what were you saying, Breezy? I heard that you were trying to chime in. What were you saying about that?
Oh no, I was saying that was definitely brought to my attention because I did have a situation where a relationship that I was in and a friend of mine, they both hurt me, but I forgave him and I didn't forgive her, and she told me that was unfair.
It's usually how we go.
Yep.
Right. The truth of the matter is, your girlfriends ain't making you come. There is a scientific based analysis of the bonding that happens between a man and a woman.
Yes.
Not able to just disconnect and don't have a child with them. You are really going to have a hard time letting go. So
but let's just keep it real.
It is so important for us to talk to our young girls about who they give their bodies to, because that bond that happens, it's real. And I wish my mom had a different conversation with me about it, opposed to just saying, oh, you going to hell if you have sex. Nah, let's talk about the real information associated when you decide to lay down with somebody and you share that bond and what happens, the cortisone that's released and all of the hormones.
Soul ties. Soul ties.
So the reason
this is what we need to know, Dr. Mia,
is because she ain't making you come.
Well, this is what we need to know, Dr. Mia, on the mental aspect for us women. What do you recommend? Because how many times the hoe got to be hit in the head with some dick to know when to let it go?
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
We need to get to the mental part of it.
There's a whole science piece that you can't account for. So it starts with the initial assessment of you need to be guarded about who getting to do. Like we have to be more strategic about who we lay down with. We just can't be.
Yeah, and I think it has a lot to do with your self-esteem. Women will tend to walk around like they, like we got our self-esteem is so high and we think we're so pretty, hair done, nails done, and we looking fly. But internally, you have to be suffering from something big when you sit back and allow a man to repeatedly cheat on you and you just stay like it's not happening. When you allow a man to lay with another woman and create a whole baby and then you go back like it never happened, there has to be something deeper going on.
I think we need to stop pretending that this whole thing of people being faithful has been something, a holy grail, because your grandmother had 9 kids, 3 of them was her granddaddies, and 5, you know what I mean? Like, there is a history of the fact that, this monogamy of what relationships are and what it's evolved to. I think if people are honest, and if you listen to your parents and they actually tell you the truth, that, hey, your daddy cheated on me too, but we decided to stay in it. Like, I don't believe, like, I'm a marriage and family therapist. The amount of people that come because they have had infidelity issues, the question is are we able to go over this hump? Because nobody's perfect. Nobody is perfect. Everybody has their trauma they come to the table with, and they have issues that make them unlovable. But if you find somebody that say, I'm going to ride and die with you and I am not perfect, and you want to go that extra right, then you do it. And you have some people that's not willing to do it. So I'm gonna be honest with you, Trina. They
I ain't got it.
I'm just trying to figure out how many times you supposed to ride.
But let's keep it G, ladies. You just can't put all the blame on that man. That woman got to take some responsibility and accountability for the nature of that relationship. If she knows that's all he's able to provide for her is some dick, and that's it, and she going butt crazy over some dick, guess what? She need to go ahead and look in the mirror and be like, girl, I'm a stupid hoe. I need to get my life together and get my shit together.
That's all I'm saying, too.
And I got to go.
That's all I'm saying. What part of mental brain does the women need to reach to get to what you just said?
Trina, we gotta do a brain study on that one.
We can't be blaming that man. It's all her too. She holds some responsibility.
But
I want to pause just for a second because I want to thank. We have a lot of people in the chat chiming in. I want to especially thank those that are coming over from the SDVL Debate League. Thank you so much for supporting the Straight Talk with Trevor, Straight Talk Society, and now our new show, Pour Your Heart Out, Black Women's Honest Conversations. Thank you all so much. You ladies, I don't know if you see the chat, but you have them going in the chat. They are loving what you ladies are saying. They are saying, preach, Black woman. We have Mike saying that Mia is basically him with tact and less bait. Because Mia is going to speak her mind, but unlike Mike, she's going to say it with some tact. And Lex and they are saying, OMG, thank you. Why when I say that, no one gets attacked? Maybe it's how you say it, Mike. Maybe that's what it is. It's how you say it. All right,
telling him that's how he said.
But someone did mention, and I like what they said in the chat. I don't remember who it was, but they said we have to set those boundaries, not just with the women that we are in relationships with, not just with our family members, but even with the men. Because, like someone mentioned, we'll forgive the man, but then that girlfriend of ours, we like, screw you. But they both could have disrespected us. They both could have done something that is toxic. So that's something that we always also want to consider. So they are going crazy over in the chats and they are loving what we are saying. So we've gone through this whole cycle of defining what toxic relationships are, the impact that it has on us. And I love that we were able to cover that it's not just mental, it can be physical, it can be emotional. Somebody even mentioned financial. There could be a toxic financial relationships. So I like that we were able to dive into all of that and then switch it over a little bit and talk about how it's not just those romantic relationships. It could be family and it can be those that we consider as friends. What are some things that we can do to start trying to break the cycle of these toxic relationships? Because some people, like Trina said, that's all they know because they don't know a healthy relationship or they're in that toxic relationship and they may feel like that's all that they can get. What are some things that we can put out there on ways that we can start trying to break the cycle of those toxic relationships? It doesn't matter if it's family or friends or relationships. Go ahead, Breezy.
I think it starts with ownership. And what I mean by that is accepting the part that you have played in allowing this toxic situation to carry on for as long as it has, and facing the reasons why you accepted that. And that could be across the board. That's romantically, family, anything. Like, what is it that I'm lacking that made me feel like it's okay that this went on for as long as it did.
Okay, I like that. That accountability. That
Yeah.
accountability is really important because sometimes, and like we touched on our toxic traits, sometimes it's us and knowing what we need to do so that we can be better and not just always for the all right, Mia says therapy. You know, some Black people, we don't just need Oprah and God. We need therapy too. And you know,
and I think that therapy can also be with your friends. We need to start allowing these friends to be honest. Because some of that therapy also comes from your home girl who looking right at you outside the box. Allow us to be honest with you.
Honest. Yes. I like that. Allowing them to be honest. Anybody else? How can we break that cycle of toxic relationships? I see someone agree with you, Angela. She's also said in the chats, it starts with being honest.
Absolutely.
And that accountability. So they're agreeing with us in the chat. Awesome.
Yeah.
What Mike said, God, Oprah, and wine equals Black women therapy. Everybody hold up your glass.
How he know? How he know?
Cheers.
I have a water bottle right now.
Hey. Legend, she hopped in and she have her cup. That's why I say wine or whatever you choose to pour in your cup.
That's right.
Hey, Lexi.
Let's talk about the importance of building those healthy relationships and maintaining those friendships because Trina and I think Breezy, they mentioned how, you know, we'll be quick to get rid of that girlfriend because, you know, you done got on my nerves. I don't like what you said to me. So we're quick to get rid of them and possibly even family members. You know, if they're toxic, let's push them to the curb. But how can we start to build healthy relationships and maintaining friendships with the opposite sex, same sex, and our family members?
Boundaries. You set up healthy boundaries for yourself. What works for you?
I think also understanding that it's a journey and not a destination.
Yes.
I like
We
that.
have to understand that we are going to have to continually work at whatever type of relationship it is. It's not we're just going to access happiness and it's just going to be there. We have to work at it. We're going to need to communicate and figure out what style works for us, and it doesn't have to work.
Yep. And you have to also acknowledge when something is actually happening and be honest about it. If it's something being done to you or something that, you know, you're doing to a friend, and if your friend is telling you that you're doing something that is, you know, hurtful to them or whatever, you have to acknowledge that and you have to be respectful of those people's feelings. I think we can be very selfish when it comes to, you know, we don't want to be hurt, but we're doing the hurting. You definitely have to, you know, just be acknowledged and just, I mean, you have to be cognizant of just behaviors and just as soon as you see it, you have to nip in the bud. And if it's not for you and it's okay, you explain to that person, listen, you know, I love you, but this here ain't working for me. It's not helping me go where I need to go. And listen, sometimes a pause in a relationship, whether it's with friends, family members, or your boyfriend or whoever, a pause in a relationship is something that can be helpful for the both of you to be able to grow moving forward.
I like that. A pause in the relationship, not necessarily getting rid of it, but sometimes you may have to pause and reevaluate some things.
I think right now, as adults, we are adults. We are not teenagers. We are not in our early 20s. As adults, by now you have dated enough and you have been in enough relationships. You have had enough life experience to know what you can and cannot tolerate, to know what you do and do not want. Don't go out here picking these men because when you ran into the man, you know he was smelling good and looking good. He got a good job and everything looks good and shimmery. But he don't match your personality. Or there's red flags. Or he does things that you know you don't like. You know you're not going to tolerate it. Then let it go. He's not the one for you. It don't mean you can't be friends. You can never have too many friends. But he's not the one for you as dating is concerned. We keep getting involved with these men who we knew at the gate we wasn't compatible with. You know you wasn't compatible with the man. You a homebody. He want to hang. He want to go to the club every night. You know you don't go to no club. So now you're gonna got 3 6 months into the relationship, you upset because he hang out all the time. Well, he was hanging out when you met him.
Facts.
So you
But
have
I
to
think
know what you can and cannot tolerate. We should know that by now.
that goes back to something else you said earlier, though, because like you said, many of us have not been in healthy relationships to
Mhm.
recognize the signs of an unhealthy one. So yes, we're old enough to know certain things are wrong, but if everything has felt wrong, you're gonna seek out something that feels right, even if it only feels right for a little while. So that's how we end up in these cycles of these unhealthy relationships.
Mia says therapy.
Um,
Yes, ma'am.
every time I start my sessions, I tell my couples, I need you to invest the same energy that you do in your 9 to 5 into this relationship. Because when I tell you at the end of the day, your job is not going to wipe your butt when you get old. Your job is not going to hold your hand on your deathbed. I know it doesn't seem as important now, but when you go into these nursing homes and these people that have not created any types of bond over time, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship, but I'm not sure who said it of saying that it is a destination. I mean, it's a journey, not a destination. That is something that you have to work over time. You have to invest in people because that's what I always said, it's my motto. We were placed on this planet to coexist with people, not places, not things, not jobs, not iPhones, not Teslas, but people. So it's the people that matter. We work because people need services. We do this. We write books for people to read. We go to work to service people. So yes, that same energy that you give to receive that tangible investment that comes to you every 2 weeks, yeah, it doesn't come tangibly, but the emotional connection of creating a long lasting bonding relationship is more beneficial to you than anything because it shows that you live longer. Now, not toxic, but working on it, being intentional about just working on it. People give up too soon and they're not willing to work on it, but you'll stay late with the boss asks you to stay late. You'll put in extra hours if the boss asks you to put in extra hours. So just do a little more for the people that you say you love.
All right. I noticed the words that came up pretty much all evening and in everybody's um conversation was accountability and honesty and communication. So those are three things that we want to make sure that we are putting out there when it comes to dealing with toxic relationships, recovering from toxic relationships, and building better relationships and friendships. Communication is important. You want to be honest and accountability because sometimes, again, we have to realize that it may be us. All righty. So, oh gosh, we've almost hit that 90-minute mark. You ladies, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This was an amazing conversation. The chat has been going crazy all night. We had quite a few people watching us tonight, so I'm really excited about our first of many episodes of Pour Your Heart Out, Black Women's Honest Conversations. Before we get ready to head on out, is there any closing words that anybody wants to share before we get ready to head out? Any closing words you want to share about relationships and just how we can do better as Black women in different types of relationships? Anything you want to share for all of our listeners and our viewers out there?
Communicate. We need to communicate.
You call me.
That's important. That's important.
I'm going to say do your work. Do your work. Be prepared. Be the
Yeah.
person that you are looking for because you can't expect something that you are not. Do your work.
I like that. You can't expect something that you are not. All right. Anybody else? Any final closing words you want to share with our listeners and viewers?
You have to hold yourself accountable. At the end of the day, you are responsible for what you allow happen to you and what
Hmm.
you put out there. So you have to be honest with yourself and acknowledge when you are doing something that's just not right. So you can't get mad when someone is doing it to you if you are okay with doing it to other people. So just hold yourself accountable. Look in that mirror, and if you don't like who you are becoming, because of that person, you know what you need to do.
I love that. Thank you. Hold yourself accountable. Awesome
I
job.
think I think my quick little piece of advice is whatever you're putting out to the other person, especially those that acknowledge they're doing toxic things, think about how you would feel if it's done to you and stop. I mean,
True.
if you can sit down and accept all the things that you're dishing out, then by all means, I guess you're stronger than most of us. But save yourself the stress. Just be quiet. Take a deep breath.
Woosah. All right. Anybody else want to
Lenita,
share?
it's Nicole.
Nicole, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I'd like to say, trust trust your instincts. Trust that thing that you feel when it feels like something's not right. Like
Yeah.
if your mind, body, and soul is feeling attacked, or you just not feeling right, or you hear something from that person and you like, did they just believe that? Because they did. Because that's where we get caught up as well. We just want to keep saying, no, maybe it was just me. Well, not maybe it wasn't. So just trust that. Trust your gut. Trust yourself. And in
Your
trusting
woman's
yourself, that's you
intuition.
doing the work.
Trust yourself. I like that. Trust yourself. All right. Anybody else want to share any final closing words? You ladies,
Do we
you
have
I
to
would
put
ladies
that
definitely
link?
conversation tonight.
I would definitely piggyback the woman's intuition to listen to your woman's intuition. And if at any moment as a woman that you feel that you are being disrespected or mistreated, go ahead. It's okay to exit stage love. It's okay. It's okay. Trust me. Starting over is not that bad. It is not that bad. I have done. I am doing it. It is great. The start over is great. It is refreshing. It is great, baby. I go to sleep every night stress free. If it feels like you being disrespected or you being mistreated in any type of way, exit stage left. I promise you that having a piece of man is not better than not having a man at all. I don't know why she said that in that song. That's why I don't never sing that piece, because that is false information. That is false
Amen.
information.
Amen, Trina.
Baby, that's
Saying
not
that
true.
part.
I've never seen that part because I don't know who taught. That was a man that wrote that part for her, because that is not true. Having a piece of man is not better than having no man at all. I don't know why they say that. That is not true. It's okay to be single until you find that one. Because I went to sleep many stressful nights in a relationship where
Yes.
I was very unhappy. And being single,
Yes.
I sleep good every night. So yes, follow your woman's intuition. Anytime you feel you are being mistreated or disrespected, just leave the situation.
I like that. I like that. Our woman's intuition. We know, it's just whether or not we're choosing to
We
listen
feel
to
it.
it, follow it, but we know. All right.
Right.
Well, it looks like we have gotten the seal of approval from our platform. Straight Talk with Her. He says he's very pleased with how this turned out. So it looks like he won't be kicking us off of his channel.
I was gonna say, well, we appreciate that, boss.
We get to come back for some more,
Thank you,
more
sir.
shows. We have a lot planned for this show. So these ladies are amazing. We have our own group chat going on, and the topics are pouring in. So look forward to more from the ladies. All righty.
Dr. Mia.
Let's go ahead and let's cheers to our first episode.
Yes.
Amazing, and I'm looking forward to doing more with you ladies. All righty. So I am going to go ahead and let you ladies go back into the back room, and I'm going to close us out. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining, and I'm looking forward to more shows with you all. You were
Good night,
amazing.
everyone.
Bye, ladies.
Good night. Great
Bye.
show.
Thank you, ladies.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for joining us tonight. This was an amazing episode. I'm looking forward to bringing more from these ladies. I chose these ladies for a reason. I knew that they had a story to tell. I knew that they were going to give some great conversation, and I knew it was going to be a good time. All righty. And that's a wrap for our first episode of Pour Your Heart Out, Black Women's Honest Conversations. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I want you ladies to remember that your story matters, your voice matters, and that you have something to say. And we are going to let our voices be heard here on this show. So that's it for tonight. Until our next episode, be blessed and love on yourself. Give yourself some grace and just be positive, spread love, and we'll see you next time. Until next time, good night.